It's storm in books, it's rain in books, it's lightning in books. Actually, lightning and books is not a good mix. Welcome back to Bookstorm, the series on my channel where I guide you through a bookish storm. Today's episode is going to be jam-packed with bookish weirdness, as it always is, so grab your umbrellas and let's take a stroll through a bookish storm, and avoid getting our books wet. No water damage on my watch. Let's kick it off with our reader oath. On today's episode of Bookstorm, Jesse promises to not roast your favorite books, and instead roast himself because that's typical behavior on this channel. He promises to make you want to fling whatever device you're watching this on and run for a book instead. Signed, Jesse the Reader. Next up, we've got recent book pickups sponsored by Bloomsbury. First up here I have The Gravity of Us by Phil Stamper. This is a YA contemporary story, and I don't know about you guys, but once spring hits, I am in the mood to read all the contemporary stories. Like, please feed my contemporary loving soul all day, every day, or I will get hangry. Book hangry. Y'all don't want to see me hit that point. I honestly wish it was springtime right now because I hate the winter season with a burning passion. Like, it's all fun and games when it starts. We get Christmas, then we get New Year's, and then it's like seasonal depression. So I pretty much want to slam my foot on the gas and hightail it out of winter. Yes, I'm aware that I just hopped on a train that led me down a tangent, but we're back. Let's talk about this book. This book follows our main character Cal, who is a social media journalist who has over 500,000 followers. He's used to being really open with his followers. He pretty much tells them every little detail of his life. I really hope that he's not one of those characters that like overshares every little detail, even though it kind of sounds like that's the case. I just find oversharing on social media obnoxious. Journals exist for a reason. Not everyone needs to know that your dog just went out for a poo or that you just pulled the longest hair out of your nose. All I really want to know when I'm following you on social media is what you're reading and what you're eating, because I love books and I love food. Cal's world completely shifts when his pilot father is selected for a highly publicized NASA mission. With this comes insane media coverage on Cal and his family, and because of this, Cal has to kind of chill when it comes to social media. He can't post as much as he normally does. But his social media obsessed fingers cannot resist the urge to post, which kind of leads him into a madhouse of drama. The only escape from this madness is this blossoming relationship that he has with this boy named Leo. It seems to me that this book deals with how social media can both be a negative and positive thing in life, and that's something that I'm really excited to be explored because I really enjoy books that kind of delve deep into that topic. As someone who uses social media a little too often, way too often, I really like seeing how different people perceive the internet. I'm sure both the media and social media coverage on Cal's family alone will just have a huge weight on Cal and Leo's new relationship. Give me a D, give me an R, give me an A, give me an M, give me another A. What does that spell? Drama! This sounds like it's going to be a solid contemporary that not only focuses on a rather serious topic, but it will also have that light romance to kind of balance things out, and then topping it all off with some drama. The last things that I picked up recently are volumes 2 and volumes 3 of the Mortal Instruments graphic novel adaptations. I've been very vocal about the fact that this series is not my favorite when it comes to the Shadowhunters, but these graphic novel adaptations are excellent. They really bring a fresh new take to the story. The humor hits a little bit differently, the world building isn't as chunky, and it's just all around so much more fun in this format. Mind you, it's the same story as the original The Mortal Instruments series, but for some reason I just like it so much more in this format. So if you find yourself struggling getting through the original series, might I recommend checking these bad boys out. The only problem is that only up until volume 3 is currently out, so if you're like wanting to binge read the series, I can't help you there. You'll have to wait to figure out how things come to a close if you're gonna go with this route. Next up, we've got cringy bookish pickup lines. I went over on my Instagram, asked you guys to submit some cringy bookish pickup lines, and today I'm gonna be reacting to them. It's the month of love, or rather, Singles Awareness Month, but that's despite the point. It's Valentine's this month, so I thought, 'tis the season, why not react to some cringy bookish pickup lines? I feel like this could also be a try not to cringe challenge. Okay, there's one that I keep seeing nonstop, like there are so many overlaps of this one. It's that one where it's like, you must be a library book because I can't stop checking you out. Like literally it's clogged up my Q&A feature on Instagram. I don't really find this one cringy, and I think it's because I'm numb to it, and not numb to it in the fact that I've used this one because I would never, but numb in the fact that I've heard it time and time again. Next, I like books, you like books, why don't we start writing the story of us? I mean, honestly, this one ain't bad. It's like very direct and straight to the point, and if anyone was trying to pick me up, I like the approach where it's like, let's not play any games here. I like books, you like books, We could be a happy family with a library full of all our favorite books. Let's get married tomorrow. It's also low-key got a Taylor Swift reference in it, and I could get down with that. Next, if you were a book, I'd need glasses because you'd definitely be fine print. Oh, that's so funny, but also so bad. Like, it definitely hit that cringe level for me. I mean, that's very much so a unique way to tell someone that they're fine, but I feel like if they were into books, they'd just be like, next, hey, are you Kafka? Because you sure bring me to the shore. I can't even handle this one. I just recently reread Kafka on the Shore too. I feel like you'd have to know that the other person has read Kafka on the Shore for them to get this one. Not that you should ever use any of these pickup lines in real life, like please don't. But if you were to use this one, you'd need the other person to know this book, otherwise they'd be lost. Just like how lost I was a majority of the time reading Kafka on the Shore. So maybe in that case it makes sense to use this one on somebody who hasn't read this book, because it'll have the same effect that the book has. Next, are you sure you're not a Dementor? Because I'd sure die if you kissed me. Oh, trying to hold my cringe back, it's not really working. I would say that in this moment, I would not take it as a compliment to be called a Dementor. I look like a Dementor to you? Get your eyes checked. Next, do you play Quidditch? Because you sure are a keeper. I'm trying not to roll my eyes. I'm trying not to roll my eyes. I'm trying not to roll my eyes. I feel like this one would work if you're like in junior high or something. But oof, I can't imagine using this on anyone and them ever taking it seriously. Which I guess is like the point. Like nobody really takes pickup lines seriously, right? If they do, then they deserve a big yikes. Next, I can't wait to turn your page. I'm speechless with that one. Had a little voice crack because of it. Am I turning red? Because I feel like I'm turning a little bit red. Next, when I said Akio Hadi, I didn't know it would actually work. Okay, this one's really good. I feel like this one would be more of a funny, comical one, but maybe that's because of the tone that I read it in. If someone tried to use it in like a sexualized voice, then I'd be hopping on a broom and brooming right out of that situation. Next, when I first saw you, I released a breath I didn't realize I was holding. I really like this one a lot. I feel like it would have to be used on somebody like in the Bookish community, as it is kind of a big inside joke in the online book community, and I feel like an outsider would just be like, good for you, sweetie. Now get lost. Okay, one more. I'm falling for you faster than my money drops in my bank account after a Barnes & Noble trip. I actually really like this one. I don't know that it would necessarily win you over the person that you're using it on, and sure, it's a little long-winded, but it's a relatable approach. Next, we've got Bookish Topic Breakdown. This is where we take a bookish topic and break it down. I normally do audience-submitted topics for this, but then the other day I had a topic pop into my head and I decided to run with it. I thought it would be fun today to talk about some of my first impressions of some of my favorite books. I really love reflecting on things and thinking about how my thoughts on certain things kind of evolve over time. So we're going to recall some of my first impressions on some of my faves. I picked out 3 books, and the first one is The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson, the first book in the Mistborn trilogy. I remember my first impression of this book was that I was really surprised how easily it was to kind of get wrapped up into this world, because going into it, I was like really nervous. I hadn't read much adult fantasy. I still haven't read that much adult fantasy. I need to get more into it. And I know that this one is kind of considered YA fantasy, but I personally feel like this one has that line blurred a little bit. Like it could be considered adult, it could be considered YA. So I kind of went into this one being like, it's gonna be way over my head. And I'm gonna be embarrassed when I finish this book and I'm gonna be the only person that didn't understand anything that happened. But that didn't happen. The only thing that happened after I finished reading this is that I regretted not reading it sooner, because things easily clicked. It was just so easy to get wrapped up into the magical system. I also remember loving our main character Vane right off the bat, and something that I really loved about her is that she's a character that despises books, which I know sounds weird, like why would I want that in a character, but I think I liked it because it's such a cliche to have a main character in a book that is a book lover. So it was kind of refreshing to have a main character that kind of despised books. Next up, we've got We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. I think my first impression of this one is that I really couldn't tell for the first few chapters what was real and what wasn't real, because it's written in such a dreamlike tone that there are ways in which things are described that come off as really abstract or obscure. So you kind of have to read between the lines to uncover what's real and what's just kind of being written in flowery detail. I also just remember coming up with all these crazy theories like right off the bat with this book. Because of the fact that I knew it was going to be a mystery from the start, I was like trying to pick up little things and like put them together and make sense of what might be the big reveal towards the end of the book. Next up is one that I'm not going to catch from the air because I couldn't find it on my bookshelf, but it's one of my favorite books, and that is Jonathan Livingston Seagull. I think for this one I was really hesitant going in because I was like, this book is told from a bird's perspective. How could I possibly get anything out of a book like this? But boy was I wrong. I got so much out of this book. I think I also remember being really excited about the photography element of this book, but I was kind of bummed out after I finished reading it. Because while the photos are nice and there's nothing wrong with them, I wouldn't say they're anything out of the ordinary. Like, it's just a bunch of pictures of seagulls. So those are some of my first impressions on some of my favorite books. You guys should let me know down below in the comments some of your first impressions on some of your favorite books. Let me know what your favorite book is and what your first impression of that book was. I think this is a really interesting topic because you might not like the book at first, but then as you move forward and things start to make more sense, you start to form this immense love for that book. So let me know yours down below in the comments. Lastly today, we've got Book Quote Fortune of the Week. I decided that I would end this week's episode off with Book Quote Fortune. That way we can send you off with some wise words. The thing is, I haven't filled up these fortune cookies behind me, so I'm just gonna pull up a random quote. I'm sorry for not being prepared today. Okay, this quote is coming from Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds, one of my all-time favorite books. You know, it's weird to know a person you don't know, and at the same time not know a person you know, you know? This is a really nice quote, a bit of a tongue twister, and a little bit hard to process, but it's something that I really think we all need to remember. It's something that I myself forget all the time. We see people and judge people all the time as we're scrolling through social media, and we think we know them. We think we really know their lives when all we really know is what they're willing to show us. And for the people we do know, there's parts of them that we also really don't know, because they might be keeping things that they don't want discovered to themselves. So for both of these people, they might be going through a hardship, but they're not willing to share about it. It's a very important thing to be reminded of because you never know what a person is facing behind closed doors. You made it through the bookstorm. That's it for today's episode. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Be sure to let me know down below in the comments some segments that you guys would like to see in the future. If you like this video, be sure to go and hit that like button. If you want to see more bookish content from me, be sure to go and hit subscribe or go and hit that bell icon and you'll be notified every time I post new videos. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope your day is bright, that tomorrow is brighter. Keep reading what your heart desires, and I will see you soon with a new video. Bye. Got hit by lightning.